So my question about rock is like, I've never gotten into rock.
Yeah.
And so you have some recommendations? And then I think of like Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of Jesus, you think like joy and like peace and like calmness. How do you put that with like people yelling?
So...
And conveying love and happiness.
So the main thing with like Christian rock and metal is they focus more on like personal like issues. So it's like if you're going through a hard time, they'll sing about that, but they'll have a positive enough message that you can be like
Like they'll relate it to hope and stuff.
Yeah, they'll relate it to hope, and then you can kind of, if you know enough of the Bible, don't want to say it like that, but if you know enough of the Bible, or at least some of it, you can kind of pick a verse in your head and be like, oh yeah, that kind of goes with it.
Welcome to NewLifeCast, episode 11. We are firmly in the double digits now with our episodes. I'm pretty excited about that. Today, for our guest, we have Brian Hunter, who is not our previously announced guest. Our previous announced guest was not able to do the podcast this week, so we did a little bit of a switcheroo. I've known Brian for, what has it been, Brian? Like
Since 2018.
2018. Okay, well, do you know
Not quite
like the month, 2 month, year, second?
I know it was during the summer because it was like, I think it was like maybe July or August.
Okay.
That sounds like the time we get new people.
Well, it wasn't quite like the kickoff that the core used to do, but I think it was, you guys were hosting something at the girls' house at the time, and
you were living just down the street, weren't you?
yeah, I was living 2 houses down.
Yeah.
Renting.
Which neighborhood?
The one on
42nd Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't know
Did
that?
I even live at this place?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I just didn't remember that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had mentioned it to a lot of people that had asked me.
I don't know what's wrong with me, Brian. It's not you. It's me. I lived in that house. I did not know you lived across the street.
It wasn't across the street. It was literally just 2 houses down.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, anyways, excited to interview you today. Thank you again for stepping in for us.
Yeah. No problem.
So, we always like to start our podcast with one question, which you said you hadn't listened to the podcast, so this will be a surprise to you. So, prepare yourself.
Okay.
What is your favorite color, and what does it say about you as a person?
I would say my favorite color generally varies between red and blue, but I would say most of the time it's red. As far as what it says about me, I feel like it's maybe something to do with just, I like to be, I don't want to say have like a bright presence, but it's like, I like to be cheerful, but also not super energetic at the same time.
Okay.
I'm not really sure the best way to describe
Difficult
that.
to put into words.
Red is kind of an electrifying color,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Well, I would say not necessarily not a bright presence is a good description of your current wardrobe.
Well, I thought it was really, a bright presence. He's wearing
Well,
black.
to be fair, I feel like 90% of the bands that I listen to, they use black as a backdrop, and I don't really have a choice in that.
So, like, would you say that you like color combinations more?
Yeah, like, I think my favorite color combination is black and red.
Okay. That makes sense. So it's kind of like the black accentuates the red. It seems like that's what you're kind of trying to put into words. Is like,
yeah, kind of like a light coming through the darkness type of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Awesome. That's cool. And then we have another question that we haven't been asking everybody, but I do want to ask you it.
Okay.
You know the Ninja Turtles, right?
Yes.
Could you name all of them?
Probably not.
Okay,
but
that's fine. But which Ninja Turtle would you be?
based off the ones I remember, I think it might be Michelangelo.
Yeah, the
if
orange one.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
The guy with the nunchucks.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And what does that say about you as a person?
I think you're the second person we've asked.
I have no idea because I really don't know much about the Ninja Turtles at all. So
Fair enough.
Comment what you think that says about Brian in the comments. Comment what you think that says.
All right. So, what is your earliest memory?
Earliest one I can remember right now is like, honestly, just I remember there are some earlier ones, but the one that's the most memorable is like being in like I think fourth or fifth grade, and it was right before my family moved, and we actually ended up watching Revenge of the Sith. Okay. At the school, and that was just, and then I also got to just because we were about to move. They also, since it was a private school, I also got to when they were. I think they had a couple tests. They just said I could just go to the gym, and I just went and shot hoops until they were done.
Nice. So was that part of a class that you guys watched Revenge of the Sith, or?
Yeah, I want to say it was part of a class, but I can't remember what class it was.
I mean, maybe like science fiction.
I don't know.
What is that movie even about?
Revenge of the Sith. Star Wars. It's a Star Wars movie.
Oh, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, it's the final movie of the prequels.
Yeah, the third one, sort of.
Technically the sixth one.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great movie, in my opinion. It's actually been a really long time since I've seen that one. I've seen the first one and the second one, like, somewhat recently, and I've seen some of the older ones somewhat recently, but I haven't seen the third one in a long time. And that was
you should watch it this next year because it's the 20th anniversary.
Oh, it's the 20th anniversary?
Yeah, 2005.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I just know that because I'm a big Star Wars fan and I've been keeping up with that stuff. So.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite movies as a kid. I mean, I would say Star Wars was my favorite thing as a kid. So,
yeah.
Anyways, back to your memory. So, where were you living at that time?
So, we were living in Walcott, but I was going to school in Davenport. Okay. And our church was in Davenport. Mm-hmm. So.
And you said you were about to move. So, where was your family about to move to?
At the time, I believe we had already decided, and it was going to be Jacksonville, Alabama. But there were a few options before that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Why were you guys going to move?
So it was because of my dad's job. He worked for the Arsenal down in Rock Island, and when it had a, I think they called it a BRAC, and that year, and he ended up just having to choose a new location because they were, I don't know if they were shutting it down or reallocating everyone or what they were doing. So
yeah. So by Arsenal, do you mean like National Guard or?
I can't remember. I don't know if he ever actually told me, but he was usually working at some sort of arsenal. I don't know if it. I would imagine it was mostly either National Guard or Army.
Yeah. So did that make you technically a military kid, or?
I don't think so, just because of my dad was more of an accountant. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Accounts.
Yes.
Well, more like making sure he was more of the type of an accountant that would just check and make sure that money was going where it was supposed to, and not being put in the wrong spot.
It's a good thing for our government to do.
Yeah.
He probably needs to. Is he retired now?
Yeah, he's retired, but he still does stuff on the side.
Okay.
So
Can I say there's probably a lot of work for accountants to do with the government.
I mean, even while he was working, he had a side job where he would do the same sort of stuff for churches.
So, what you said, 4th or 5th grade, you have memory at school right before you guys are moving to Jacksonville, Alabama, you said?
Yeah.
So where in Alabama is that?
It's about an hour and a half from Birmingham, and I believe about an hour and a half from Atlanta. So it's like right in the middle of those two major cities.
So what was that like as a kid moving so far away from your home?
I'd say it was a little difficult, but at the time, I don't feel like I really thought too much about it. It was just, hey, I'm moving to a new area. So
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 brothers, both older than me.
So that must have been a nice cushion because, like, you have are they like significantly older or
No.
what's the age range?
So it varies between, so it's like 2.5 years between me and my next brother.
Okay.
And then my oldest brothers are just a year apart.
Okay. Well, so
About a
that you
year
would have
apart.
had playmates coming along with you.
Yeah. Although I would say, at least at the time, our interests were very different.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, yeah. Maybe.
So.
So, when you were a kid, did you feel like you had an easy time making friends after you guys moved, or was that difficult?
No, that's kind of what started. I felt like it was just a lot harder to make friends down there. I'm not exactly sure what happened or what the change was there. I think it was just because I didn't really know anyone. I didn't really open up to a lot of people down there.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been the biggest reason, but I don't think it was the whole reason. Is I also knew at some point I was probably going to move back up here.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, do I really want to invest into people that I'm probably not going to see again after I move back?
Yeah, that is always a difficult thing.
How long were you guys there for?
10 years.
Yeah. So that's a pretty significant amount of time, but when you just don't know, I feel like that is the hard thing. I feel like I experienced that some, even like staying in the same place, but other people come and go, and it's like, how long is this person going to be in my life? Like, how much effort should I put into it?
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to figure out. So as a kid, what kind of things did you enjoy doing?
So I would say I kind of always enjoyed playing video games growing up. I actually remember when we bought our first like system, which was like a PlayStation 2.
Nice.
We got it at a garage sale, and I think the first game I played was like some sort of like tank shooter or something.
Nice.
Or tank strategy game. But yeah, I mean, growing up, at least in Walcott, it was a nice enough place that we really could just go outside and go like for a bike ride and ride around the whole city and be done in like a half hour. It is one of the smallest towns, but it also has the world's largest truck stop.
Oh, yeah. Smallest town, world's largest truck stop.
Yep. That's the only thing that city is really known for. So.
Yeah, I've driven past that truck stop quite a few times, I guess. Don't you drive past that one if you're going to like Chicago or something? Or?
Yep, it's right off of 80.
Yeah. Okay.
So, So most people will have drove past it if they live around here.
Yeah. What was my question going to be? Oh yeah. What was your family dynamic? Did you feel like you got along well with your parents?
I definitely feel at that time I felt like I got along with my brothers pretty well, my parents pretty well. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit harder with my dad being gone most of the time because there were times where he'd have to travel to a different state for work.
Okay.
Because they needed him there or whatever.
Yeah. And what did you appreciate about your parents and the way that they raised you?
I'd say it's just their commitment to just like each other and going to church and anything they had felt like they needed to do. They seemed like they were very committed.
Yeah.
So.
Did you get along with your siblings, your brothers?
Yeah, we did the typical brother stuff though. We always wrestled.
Who usually won with the wrestling?
Honestly, I would say probably my middle brother, who is actually now seems to be the most. I would say he's probably one of the more level-headed of us. Although we're all pretty level-headed.
Yeah,
it's just like I feel like he has a little bit more. But.
So you mentioned that your parents were very committed to going to church. What did you feel like was your relationship with God when you were a kid?
So I will say this. I got saved when I was 5, or I talked to my parents about it at least. I officially recognized, at least myself, recognized that I got saved when I was in 6th grade, though.
Okay.
So how
because
old is that?
that's a much stronger memory of getting saved versus when I was 5.
How old is 6th grade? Is that?
It's like 13 or so. I think.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, 12.
It was right at the beginning of the year, so I would have been like 12, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And what brought that about?
I can't remember the exact message, but I know the Awana group leader at the time was like a firefighter, and I kind of felt like he does this for a living in a sense,
Yeah.
and is just I don't know.
Well, that's encouraging. So you think you got saved through Awanas?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely that I remember that night pretty well. Like I can tell the month, but I can't remember the exact date of it.
Yeah.
I remember everything except for the exact date and I know they had theirs at like I want to say 6.
Yeah.
So
this makes me remember a night at Awanas. I think they were gonna share the gospel, and it was. So what it was that a leader would come in with some like cookies and candy and such, and she would bring it in and put it down and tell the kids like don't eat it, and then she would leave. And another leader would come in and said, "Oh, like there's candy here and cookies, you guys can have it." And then the kids would eat it. And the leader would come back and say, "You guys ate the candies and cookies?" And the kids would be like, "Yeah." And then she'd be like, "You owe me money." And the kids would like, some of them would be like, "Well, this teacher said we could eat it." And some of the kids would be like, "I didn't eat it. I told them not to eat it." But one girl broke down and started crying. She was panicking, like, I don't have any money, but I ate a cookie. And she just lost her mind, and we had to explain to her, well, no, like, Jesus paid. He paid for your sins. That's what we're trying to say. And I'm pretty sure that child was scarred. Like, we're trying to tell her the gospel, but she's like, I have no money.
Was that how it was for you, Brian?
It was really funny. I really hope that it stuck with her. Like, Jesus paid for it. Okay, he paid for the candy. Yeah. He paid for your sins. You don't have to freak out. Yeah. But I'm glad you guys saved it for us.
Now, do you remember any of your memory verses from Awana?
Probably not.
Could you recite John 3:16, maybe? You don't have to do that.
Yeah. I think I can recite stuff, but just not on the spot and like the pressure of like
with the camera and a bright
well, but
light.
it's like in your heart.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole
Yeah.
point is that like if you don't have your Bible and you need to access the Word of God, like it's gonna be on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to.
Yeah.
Remember it.
So you got saved when you're in 6th grade at Awana. How do you feel like your relationship with God grew after that?
So I kind of feel like it grew for like a month, and then it kind of just I honestly don't feel like anything too much happened for like several years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of got stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, I would say probably it started growing again once I came back up here and found a church up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like it's grown a lot though this last year. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
So, you said you were in Alabama for 10 years.
Yes.
So how old were you when you moved back up to Iowa?
20.
20? Okay.
Oh, really?
Yep. 10 years. My first 10 years was here, and then that's how I remember it is like it was exactly 10 years in Walcott, and then it was 10 years there.
Okay. That's easy numbers.
Yep.
So what are you going to do when you're 30?
I'm going to Costa Rica when I'm 30, so I don't know.
Are you turning 30 this coming year?
Yeah.
Well, when's your birthday?
The March 2nd.
Oh, okay.
So we'll just have to leave you in Costa Rica.
Well, that's part of the reason I'm planning on staying on vacation. It's
Okay.
like,
Oh, are you guys going to be there till March?
well, yes. So the week is like, it's like the 24th or something, I want to say, to the 2nd.
Okay.
So it's Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And for the end of that first week is my birthday.
Oh.
So I'm saying the second week as vacation.
You should do a thing, like I don't know, like a big thing.
I'm sure we'll do something.
Yeah, like a party or something.
I want to say there's like 4 birthdays. Give me 4 birthdays that weekend.
Oh, yeah. Then you definitely have to do a party.
I know I have the same birthday as Sherry. And then and then I found out when I went down there last year, Carlos is like a couple days before mine.
Oh yeah. You guys should have a big
So I know of at least
party.
2. I think Illy's birthday is going to be that while we're down there too.
Yeah. Well, if Brian doesn't come back from the trip, don't panic anymore. You know why now. He's just decided to move to Costa Rica.
Yeah, that I think it would take a little bit more than
I'm
what
sure
I got
it'll
right
work.
now to move there.
It's probably cheap there. I don't know.
Stay at the church. Have Awanas all the time. Isn't that what you guys do? You like help build stuff and
Yeah.
do Awanas?
I don't know. We'll see what we do. But I guess Brian went to Costa Rica.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. I really enjoyed it. I got to get a little closer with a couple of people that I haven't really talked to.
Yeah.
And it's kind of led to some of the stuff that I'm doing this year. Like, I've been helping Blade.
Yeah.
On the side with like his fishing stuff and doing some of his landscaping stuff as well.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Do you feel like from going to the Costa Rica trip, because you're not super talkative? Can I say that? Is that true?
Depends on what we're
person.
talking. Yeah.
Talking
And
person.
how comfortable I feel with talking.
Okay. Well, you don't seem all the time very talkative. Do you feel like you've been a little bit more integrated with like more people and building more relationships since the Costa Rica trip?
Yes.
Yeah. And like closer with everybody?
Yeah. I think part of it is I'm not good at starting conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like if someone's asking me questions and I
Then you can answer them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I'm kind of an open book type person. If you ask me questions about me, I will answer questions. Or if you ask me questions of stuff I know, we can talk for a while.
Yeah. Well, talk to Brian, you guys. But I'm really glad. So, do you plan on going every year?
I plan on getting my money's worth out of buying or having to get the passport. So
Yeah.
I will at least go for half the years that it's valid.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So.
What if you go to Costa Rica and you fall in love? I had to say that. Let's move on. It was in my head.
That would
It
be
came
one
out
way.
of my
That
mouth.
would be one way to move to Costa Rica.
That would be you can get married so you can.
Do they
stay
have
there.
like a
like the visa thing where you like get married for a visa?
Yeah,
like that's what I
something
did.
like that.
It worked
It worked in America. I don't know if it'd work in Costa
in
Rica.
Costa Rica.
I don't know.
You have to look that up, Brian.
I'll help you look that up.
Anyways, so just to take a step back again, so you were in Alabama in your high school years.
Yes.
What do you remember from high school? Like, what did you really enjoy during that period?
I don't know if there was too much I really enjoyed. I felt like high school was actually kind of hard for me down there.
Why?
I didn't really have a lot of friends, and the few friends I did have didn't really do a lot with me. I would say I'm the type of person that I value more spending time together versus just like talking when we see each other.
Yeah.
Like quality time.
Yeah. Rather than just like, hey, I know you and we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
During that difficult time, do you feel like, I guess, where was God during that difficult time of not really feeling like you had friends in high school? Did you feel like you connected with God during that time?
I do feel like I did because I was still listening. I've pretty much never not listened to Christian music, which is kind of my big thing. Is like I feel like I get way more out of music than a sermon.
Why do you think that is?
I'd say it's just like I can, or like the remembering some of the verses that I had to memorize for Awanas. Just certain songs would make me think of, and it's even the same way when I'm, because I kind of have to listen to music to read a book or anything, and I feel like I can tie a song to a specific thing.
Yeah.
When I'm reading it. So.
Yeah. I definitely feel like music is a very strong like memory tool. I don't there's specific places that I've been that are definitely like tied to a song, and when I hear that song, I like that just the image of where I was when I heard that song comes up.
Yeah.
And then just just song lyrics in general. Like if you get a song stuck in your head, like obviously there's some memory component there to song lyrics. Yeah, I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Of like, you just feel it feels more impactful.
Yeah.
So, what kind of bands were you listening to in high school then?
So, yeah, my music journey kind of a little bit interesting because I started off with like very tame, like as far as like compared to what I listen to now. It's like I was listening to stuff like Casting Crowns and like a lot more contemporary Christian type music. But in high school, I started to listen to bands like Skillet, Thousand Foot Crutch, a little bit more rock and hard rock Christian music. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, when you were 20, you moved back to Iowa.
yes.
And what was the motivation behind moving back to Iowa?
Alabama is not very great when it comes to construction as far as finding jobs.
Okay. So you'd already started a career in construction, or?
I had not, because I hadn't found anything after graduating.
Okay.
Is that what you went to school for?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I actually went to college for 2 years doing construction.
How did you know that that's what you wanted to pursue?
So I really had a hard time trying to think of what I wanted to do, but I just remember in high school I always enjoyed going to like my shop class and just like I still have some of my projects from my shop class.
Oh, really?
I have a collapsible, I guess you would call it a collapsible Adirondack chair. Just very portable. I probably should. I'm planning on refinishing it and making it look newer because it's like 10-year-old treated wood at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would call it super portable. It's kind of heavy. You've made me lift it before. But it does fold up nicely.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe like 10 to 15 pounds.
Yeah, I guess. Compared to like a normal folding chair.
Yeah.
It's kind of heavy, but. So you're doing construction and you wanted to get a construction job. Did you choose Iowa specifically just because you'd been here before? Or?
So part of the reason I moved back was also because I had found out I was diabetic that year.
Oh, okay.
Oh, how did that come about?
Because I think it was like 3, maybe 4 years prior, my brother found out he was diabetic.
Oh.
So my parents noticed that I was starting to kind of have some of the same symptoms, so they just, I guess, said, let's go to the doctor and check and make sure.
Yeah.
So
Is that your middle brother or your older middle brother? Is your older brother diabetic as well?
no.
Wow. Okay.
You dodged a bullet.
Well, my parents keep wanting him to check
Yeah.
too, so.
So then why would that cause you to move to Iowa?
So it was just so I had, even if I wanted to move somewhere else, it was so I had at least my brother if I had any issues.
Oh, okay.
So your brother was already in Iowa? Okay.
Yep, basically my brothers moved back, I think a year or two after college, which is what I ended up doing
Okay.
as well. So.
And was that... Did you move back to Davenport first or to Cedar Rapids?
Just to Cedar Rapids because my parents were from Cedar Rapids. The reason we were in Davenport is the same reason we kind of moved to Jacksonville.
Okay.
My dad's job put him in Davenport.
And so was your brother living on 42nd Street and then you just joined him? Or
No, I was actually... The reason I ended up at 42nd Street is I had met someone at Veritas and asked... So I had kind of lived with my brothers off and on in between until I'm where I'm at now, which is I have my own apartment. So I had just left, or my brother's lease had just ran out at the place he was at. And I was like, he was getting ready to buy his own house is the main reason I was looking for a place at the time. So I knew this guy at Veritas, and I forget exactly how it came about, but he ended up telling me he's getting a place, or he has a place, and he was able to had a room that I could rent and stuff like that.
So your brother's new house wouldn't have a room for you to rent, or
I've lived with him since he's moved into that house, but he just was wanting at the time to just have the house to himself.
Yeah,
to get it
that makes
adjusted
sense.
to it.
So you were going to Veritas at the time then?
Yes.
Okay.
So like, I want to say the first 2-ish years I was here, I went to Veritas, and reason I went there was that's where my brother that was also diabetic went. So he still goes there. He does a lot more. He does some stuff for them now. Like he runs the slides usually. And I think he does some other things for them.
Cool.
So
Did you enjoy going to Veritas?
to an extent, but the group I felt like was too big for me. So
Yeah.
because I want to say it was like somewhere around almost 100 college students. It's like, and that's like you don't really know anyone other than like a few people.
Yeah.
Because even their small groups were pretty big that they had. So
Yeah. So we were talking before about when you moved up to Cedar Rapids and you felt like you started growing more in your relationship with God. What do you feel like started that?
I just felt like it was mostly when I started coming here. I want to say I felt more like I had found the place I needed to be at and was getting a lot more connected with people
Yeah.
again. So
Well, that must have been a good change from going to like a large, 100 college students to like 5. We had like very few college students, I feel like. Not 5, but
yeah,
fewer.
it was like I think it was like 20.
It was
when
probably
I
like
started
20, yeah.
When I was going, so.
And so how did you get invited to the core?
I think
Was it like we were having a games night or something?
I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was like I think it was Sarah came over or was walking through the neighborhood and going to different houses and inviting people, and then I didn't actually get invited myself per se. They invited the person that I was renting from, and he told me about it, and I went over.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Okay.
Because he was going to, I think First Assembly. Now that's now Radiant Church or whatever over there. So.
I feel like I do have memories of this now because I was forgetting that you did live 2 houses down, but now I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
The way I got into the core too was that I wasn't invited, but my friend got invited. We were at work together in the core, like people called her and told her the information, and I got the information from her, and then I came. So I think we need to do indirect evangelism. Like we try to get a person, but we tell their friend and like not tell them.
I think that's in God's hands.
Well, but still,
Well,
indirect.
in my case, it's a little different because my friend told me not like what you were saying just now.
Well, but Sarah invited your friend.
Yeah.
And I'm saying someone from the core invited my friend, but she never came and she told me the information.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is similar. So.
Yeah. So I would, say we should do indirect evangelism.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly you would do that.
You gotta find out information about people first.
You just do evangelism,
But badly.
and trust God that He will do
Get
something.
the information to the right person.
So, you felt like getting connected helped you start to grow. What do you feel like? What do you feel like needed to grow in your relationship with God?
I would say it was my that growing in my relationships with other people was also part of why I felt so far from him. Is like the kind of like the interaction of talking to another person about him
Yeah.
is what helped. Was what I was missing and what helped grow me closer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
that's really important. I feel like just experiencing God's love and relationship with Him through other people, through other Christians. I feel like I've met multiple people in my life that are like, they feel like they just want their relationship with God to be something between them and God, and they don't want to be part of a church. They don't want anyone else involved in their relationship, because usually it's like they don't want people to influence their relationship with God, and I think it's normally like they've been hurt in some way. They don't trust people, but like, yeah, to be able to open up to people and connect with them and receive God's love from them, I do think that is really important. To be able to actually grow in your relationship with God.
Well, and feeling the love from other people too would help you grow in a relationship with God. Like if you're not having a relationship with people and they're not loving on you, like it's going to be hard for you to feel like God's loving you and that you can have a relationship with God, because Jesus is our friend. And if you don't have very many friends, it's really hard for you to like understand what that is like and what that looks like.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that was helpful is that I've basically pretty much since I joined or started coming to the Corps, I've pretty much always been in a group with you.
Yeah.
The whole time. So
Yeah, other people have come and gone, but
yeah. I'm saying I think that was part of the reason that helped me grow is like I always had a relationship with you since I started coming, and it's like I've never really had a relationship like that with like a pastor's kid, because at the other churches I've been to, I've been friends with the pastor's kid, but never really had a relationship like the one I have with Joe right now. So
yeah, well, I like being friends with you too. This is a strange question. If you don't have an answer to it, that's okay. But what was your first impression of me?
Actually, I want to say I didn't really talk to you that much the first time I met you. I think I was actually talking to Josh a lot more initially.
It could have been one of us, you know. You never really know.
Well, after I started coming, I was able to tell a difference enough between you, just in like your facial features, that I was able to tell you two apart. Now it's easy because you don't grow your beard out as much.
Yes.
I think at the time that was also the case too. Like he would always grow his out more than you would.
Yeah.
So that's how I was able to tell you two apart.
So what was your first impression? You never answered. You're avoiding.
So honestly, my first impression was he seems like he's a good guy, very well connected, and just, I think I could learn a lot from him.
Oh.
Well, turns out all that was wrong, but
That's very kind of you, Ryan, to say to me. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to ask you what you thought about me. That's too scary.
So you mentioned earlier that you used the phrase "my musical journey."
Yeah.
So what do you feel like your musical journey has been?
So like I said earlier, I started with like the the more contemporary Christian bands that are a lot more just like updated hymns, I would say.
Yeah.
And then I kind of shifted to Skillet, and that was a crutch, like I said. And I was like, okay, yeah, I like this stuff. And then as it grew, it's kind of I've kind of expanded to the before I moved back, I had kind of grown to the point where I like almost everything except for country music.
Really?
And I still can't really stand country music. At least the newer country music.
New country music isn't great, but old country music is pretty good.
Yeah, like there's some older ones, but
He loves Bob Dylan.
no.
You do. Okay, I was gonna say really.
No, the closest I would say that I like to country, but I've even talked to Joe about this, and I would agree he's more folk, is Johnny Cash.
I do like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
He is pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
He can sing. He's like Bob Dylan, but can sing.
I don't think most people would think Johnny Cash can sing.
Really?
I mean, like
He can sing better than Bob Dylan.
he has a very unique voice, but I wouldn't call it like. It's not like he's Frank Sinatra.
No, he's not Frank Sinatra, but you're the first person I've ever heard say that about
No,
Johnny
I
Cash.
love Johnny Cash's voice. Like, I think it's one of the greatest voices ever. I just don't think he's like good at singing.
That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean he's one of the greatest voices ever, but he can't sing? Like, is that why you like Bob Dylan?
Yeah, I don't really like
People who are good singers.
I don't really like people who are good singers. Like, one of my least favorite singers is Michael Bublé.
What? I'm so basic. I love Michael Bublé.
Yes, not everyone. Lots of people love Michael Bublé, and I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I just don't like his voice.
Do you think that's like a personality thing about you, that you like don't like things that are good and like and that regular people like?
I don't know. I think I really like it when artists can really convey emotion through their even just their tone, not even just the lyrics.
I feel like my question sounded mean. I'm not mean.
Which question?
Just direct. Is that why you like things?
Why do I like things that suck?
Yeah. Is that why you like rock? Because they convey emotion?
Yeah, for the most part. But I also I've also kind of been a fan. This kind of has to do with Star Wars, but ever since I watched I think the first one I watched was actually Empire, that had Darth Vader with the deep voice. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of liked that type of style, like the voice acting. Mm-hmm. Or, I don't know the official term, but like where you can change your voice from a lot of different ranges.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like sort of like a techno voice changing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the bands I listen to, at least when it's just a single guy that's doing the singing, a lot of them, they have very wide ranges. Like, they can do something that's just like soft and like almost like acoustic, but then they can also turn around and do something where they're like screaming at the top of their lungs.
So you like the artistry of their voices and the things they can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so when I said Johnny Cash is one of the greatest,
he's got to defend himself,
ever,
folks.
Like he conveys so much emotion through his voice, but it's not like he's singing like not like a classically trained singer, or like someone like it's very different from someone who's singing
for the beauty of singing, for the pleasure of hearing the voice.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. Like, the good singers are singing because, like, you hear the voice and that's it, and it's enjoyable and it's surface level. But you're saying Johnny Cash is much more than that.
Yeah, it's a more interesting to me because it's there's a human element to it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not just.
Which there's a human element to all music, but yeah.
I understand. I guess you're not that weird.
I actually have a little bit of a weird question.
You're asking me a question?
No.
I'm not sure what we're about, right?
No, it's a fairly normal question. Is it all right if we take a short little break?
Oh yeah, we can take a break. Yeah, that's fine. We can cut it.
Is it going as you expected, Ryan?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Everything according to plan.
Definitely laughing as much as I've seen in other podcasts.
Laughing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're having a good
I feel
time.
like a lot of the podcasts that I watch, there's like always someone laughing like after something.
Yes.
Oh, and you feel like it's
Yeah.
happening. Dreams come true. You know, my podcast dream was once we were recording an episode and we were trying to think of something, and Nathan looked it up and told us, and I was like, "Whoa, we have a guy behind the camera. This is professional."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm never gonna quit this show. I have a guy behind the camera."
Or Jamie. I don't know if you watch Joe Rogan at
No,
all. But
not
that's,
really.
That's the guy behind the curtain in Joe
Oh.
Rogan show, Jamie.
You're Jamie. How special.
Anyways, what we were talking about with music and singers, I feel like whenever I listen to like a new artist, I don't know, maybe you feel this way too. I don't know how other people feel about this, but when I listen to like a new artist, like I instantly know if I like the singer or if they're just so bland to me that I would never be able to like their music even if it was good. And I don't know exactly what it is about a singer's voice, but just like some singers it feels like they're conveying emotion, and others it just sounds like they're singing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced that.
A few of the singers I listen to, yeah, it's like, especially I don't listen to a lot that's not Christian music. I would say still, I can maybe count on my hands how many non-Christian bands that I listen to regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some of them I was like, yeah, I can tell this guy can actually sing and it has emotion behind some. Will probably have some emotion behind some of his songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my question about rock is like, I've never gotten into rock.
Yeah.
And so you have some recommendations. How, and then I think of like Jesus. You
Yeah.
know, when you think of Jesus, you think like joy and like peace and like calmness. How do you put that with like people yelling
So
and conveying love and happiness?
So the main thing with like Christian rock and metal is they focus more on like personal like issues rather than on some of their songs versus just singing about Jesus.
Okay.
So it's like if you're going through a hard time, they'll sing about that, but they'll have a positive enough message that you can be like,
Like they'll relate it to hope and stuff.
Yeah, they'll relate it to hope, and then you can kind of, if you know enough of the Bible, don't want to say it like that, but if you know enough of the Bible or at least some of it, you can kind of pick a verse in your head and be like, oh yeah, that kind of goes with this.
Okay. I see what you were saying now, that it makes you remember like a lot of verses.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you'll have to send me some of your favorite songs so I can maybe get into rock. I feel like Josh would be so worried about me if I started to do that.
So-
I don't think you would. He'd be very interested as to why you were doing it.
I was like, he'd be worried. Like, what's going on?
So I could actually give you one right now, but
Okay.
that's just because the name of the song is someone we already talked about, Johnny Cash. There's
He
a song.
did a-
There's a song called Johnny Cash.
Oh, okay.
It's by a band called Wage War. They are from what I also will say this. I like to research bands if I start to like them, just to see kind of what their background is. So they are have been labeled as like pseudo Christian music. So
What does that mean?
they're not necessarily Christian, but a lot of their songs have like the hope and stuff
Okay.
that Christian bands do
Okay.
of the same genre. So
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite Christian metal bands?
so there's really only like 3 that I listen to that I feel like really qualify as metal. Disciple is one of them, but not all theirs. They're generally more hard rock and rock, I would say. But then one is the 2 main ones that I listen to are Demon Hunter and then Fit for a King.
Nice.
The name, I was Demon Hunter. That just sounds so like, well.
So, well, the thing is, a lot of the bands that I listen to now, I've realized have been around for 20 plus years doing
Really?
it. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, I think the earliest Demon Hunter album is like early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I know Disciple's been around since the 1990s. And then same for Skillet, although they're not metal, but they're Christian rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Matt Reiner being really into Demon Hunter when I was like a kid. And I just kind of remember this feeling of like, oh, wait, that's allowed? You can...
Like other things.
Well, like, you can like a band called Demon Hunter? What's that about? Like, that's kind of cool.
Well, it makes me think they're like, I don't know, you're fighting for Jesus and you're fighting.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like a lot of them. It's like their name means something about fighting demons.
Yeah.
In some sort of way.
But it's so direct. Like, that's why I laughed.
Yeah, something that... So, in the past, I have listened to some amount of Christian metal. And something that I do actually appreciate about it is that I feel like it's the only kind of music that can, like, accurately convey God's wrath in, like, a musical form. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't really think of, like, any hymns that really even touch on the subject of God's wrath.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some that do a little bit, but usually it's more focused on, like, guilt and shame, like, and how deep the Father's love for us. It's like, I'm blanking. I sing this song, like, every single day to my son, but the problem I have with song lyrics is I have to start from the beginning, and I don't want to
start from the beginning.
You don't want to start singing for us?
Behold the man upon a cross,
Yeah.
my son upon...
Yeah.
I'm failing. I have to actually... without actually singing it, I can't remember the lyrics either.
We should start singing it.
You can look up the lyrics for How Deep Father's Love for Us and see what I mean. But anyways, I feel like Christian metal music can convey God's wrath in a way that, like, and just like his power,
His passion.
Yeah.
like just like his overwhelming power.
I can think of one particular CD right now that or band that has something like that I've been listening to recently. It's called War of Ages. I know you told me you listened to them in the past. They have an album called Dominus, and like they have at least a song based off of at least three that I can name off the top of my head. They have 3 of the 4 Horsemen that a song's related to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, God's overwhelming power. I definitely feel overwhelmed when I like listen to rock or heavy metal.
So yeah. So it's not usually, I guess, the most uplifting music, but I do feel like in the past when I've listened to metal music, it has been encouraging to, like, think about, like, God's power and how he will crush the devil and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like the music helps you convey? Would you say you're, like, really good at explaining and conveying your emotions?
Not really, but I have felt in the past like I connected with certain songs to a point where I almost felt like I could say, here, just listen to this song and you'll know how I feel.
Yeah. Do you feel like these songs do that for you? Like they...
Some of them do, but
yeah.
Some of them I just like because of the sound. Like,
cool.
Yeah. Well, like I like the sharp sounds of like the electric guitar for one. Like, I think the song that most is recognizable as far as with that particular sound that I'm talking about to me is Enter Sandman by Metallica, as far as like the intro to that song.
I don't know that one.
Enter Sandman.
You guys will have to sing it.
I don't remember how it starts.
Well,
How does it start?
It's not really that part I remember. It's got the part of now I lay me down to sleep and pray the Lord my soul to keep. It's got that
okay.
in there.
Okay.
But I obviously I don't think Metallica is really a Christian band, but
Metallica is a band and not a genre.
Metallica is a metal band. Metal
See, you guys, I am not musically, like, I don't know music.
okay.
I don't listen to very much music. I don't remember, like, song titles. Like, I like Casting Crowns.
at one point I was, at least in college, there was one point where I could, if I heard a song, I could tell you the album, the band, and the
That's crazy.
year that album came out.
That's insane. I feel like some people just have that kind of mind.
Yeah. That's not my kind of mind.
No, not mine either. So what was college like for you?
College was interesting because I was the only one of my friend group at the college that was doing what I was doing. Everyone, all my friends otherwise there were some that were, there was one that was going to be a professional trainer and didn't really see him that much. But then I had like 3 or 4 friends that were all big fisher, doing stuff with like the fishery at the college. And that's who I spent most of my time hanging around with. So,
What college did you go to? Did you already say?
no. So this is a college kind of like Kirkwood, but just down in Alabama.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called Gadsden State.
Okay.
The Alabama and Kirkwood.
Damn it.
Yeah, because I only say that because they're both community colleges.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And so you moved here and you for work and to be with your brother, and then you moved into that house on 42nd Street. And then what else were you up to?
I wasn't really doing a whole lot at the time after I moved into that 42nd Street apartment or house, not apartment. I didn't do I don't think I really did a whole lot until I got my own apartment and just was doing stuff, able to kind of have my own place and stuff like that. And I mean, I've definitely felt like last year or so I've grown a little bit more into myself.
Yeah. What does that look like?
So like liking stuff that I at least looked at like growing up, like I shouldn't like this. It's like this doesn't seem like something a Christian would like, but
Yeah.
I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't like a lot of non-Christian music, but I've also kind of grown in that where I'm like, as long as they sound good and they're not like swearing every single word, I don't mind them. It's not like I'm an uber fanatic about getting to the point where I'm an uber fanatic about them and listening to every single song. But
So like broadening your musical interests.
yeah, even my like outside of work interests, like I've just been growing like my collection type stuff because I don't broadcast this a lot, but I do collect have a lot of collectibles.
Like
in my
what?
apartment. And, so I have a lot of some people will call them action figures or figurines, but I have like my whole desk is pretty much covered with them. And then I have a few helmets from popular things. Like I have a Halo helmet now that I got this year. I also have a Mandalorian helmet.
Ooh. I actually do know that one.
But the thing the thing I like the most that I just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of nice to have that I've gotten recently was I got a sword.
Like a real sword?
A real sword. It's got enough weight to be a real sword. Right now, it's not an actual sword because none of the edges are sharp except for the point of the sword.
Good. So you can't go slashing.
No, but
Murder spree.
but it is, like I said, it is heavy enough. I could use it as a club, and it wouldn't really hurt.
Yeah.
Because I think when I bought it, it said it was 11 pounds.
Ooh. That would be heavy to...
It's actually not as heavy as you think to an 11-pound sword.
But to swing it around for a long time.
I take some ab muscle.
I don't know.
It would take some core muscle, yes, but I don't think it doesn't take as much as you think to swing that kind of sword.
You should bring it to the gym.
Well,
I don't
maybe not.
I think they would kick me out of the gym if I brought that
Well, maybe more than that. We like you not being in jail.
Well, I guess it depends on what gym I go to, because I have seen videos where there's like some gyms where you can actually just sword train while you're there.
I would not go to that gym.
That would be pretty awesome.
But I think those are more like kind of like martial arts type gyms.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for those, can you imagine walking into Planet Fitness with the sword?
I'm just going to walk on the treadmill. Don't worry.
Just...
Practice my charging with a sword.
Yeah.
Your ninja skills. Have you guys seen, you guys are probably not on social media, but there's like these videos of people at the gym like working out as whatever thing they do. Like if you're a thief, they like work out as like stealing purses. And
I have seen those.
You've seen those? Do you find them funny? I think they're so funny.
Some of them I find funny, but I'm more into like the fail videos.
Fail. Oh, like
where it's like hilarious type fails, like gym fails.
Gym fails can be scary though.
Yeah, like
I have seen some that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that exercise now. Like, there was one I saw the other day where a guy was just doing like what's called a skull crusher, which is just you're kind of doing this, and then his arm just snaps or elbow snaps right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that the kind of humor you got? You have like, what is it, slapstick humor? Like people getting hurt?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't say I have a super dark humor, but I do have a little bit of dark humor, like as far as what I enjoy, as far as laughing.
Yeah. Do you enjoy Napoleon Dynamite?
Not really.
That's not really slapstick.
I know, but I was just trying to see where your relationship is at. You guys known each other for so long. You guys love Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, it is.
I have watched it with him, I think a couple times actually, but I just, in general, don't find it very funny.
Is it Napoleon Dynamite or is it the one with the wrestler?
Nacho Libre?
Yeah, where the guy falls down the hill for like 6 minutes.
That's Hot Rod.
Okay, well, that one is not very funny either.
Well, those are like 3 of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, see what we were saying about his taste?
Yeah.
Nacho Libre, I don't like it quite as much because there's just something about that movie that just makes me feel weird.
Uncomfortable. It is a very uncomfortable
Probably just
movie.
Jack Black, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of like comedy movies do you like?
I actually mostly stick to action movies, but I like. So I wouldn't say I particularly watch comedy movies, but I do like it when there's like a character. Like I do watch a few horror movies. I get a lot of comedic stuff out of that just because of how stupid the characters are. That's the kind of comedy I like. Is like they are comically stupid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horror movies that are like that.
I do not.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but like
the scary movie type stuff where it's like a parody of an actual scary movie where like they grab a banana instead of a knife that's on the
table right there.
It's like, why? Why would you grab a banana? Or like I've seen ones where it's like these are just random videos. They're not from a specific movie, but they're talking about the movie. It's like a sign that's pointing one way says you live. The other sign's points the other way says you die, and they run the way that says you die. It's like, why?
Okay, so like growing up black in America, we always would make fun of the like white people, that it was white people that were doing that. Like black people would never. So you're saying you're not a white person that would go with the sign that says you die? Because that's what we thought. Like all white people would go to the bear. They would go to the dangerous thing.
Well, the thing is, in horror movies, that's usually the people that usually do that are like some form of like jock or like
They're
popular
like,
person, or like they're not the smartest person in the
they're
group.
not the smart people. Yeah, I would say that's a stereotype I definitely believed for a while.
I feel like it's kind of true. It's like one of those stereotypes that's like sort of enough true to actually be a good stereotype.
Well, being married to Josh, it's kind of true sometimes. Like, not that you'll go to a sign that says like you'll die, but it'll be like, there are dangerous things here, and this does not really look like a path. And he's like, ooh, let's take that path. Like, and everything in me and my ancestors are like, no.
Yeah, I feel like some of that has like played out in history though a little bit.
But it's
like,
worked out for the white man.
It's worked out for the white man. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's pros and cons.
You've discovered things because you guys are willing to die.
Yeah, I don't think any black people would have ever tried to cross Antarctica.
I really don't think we would. I know.
Which, you know, it makes a lot more sense to not cross Antarctica, because what's the point? But
not unless you work there and you're trying to go across.
I guess. Well,
from station to station.
Yeah, I'm more talking like in the 1800s.
Even then, I don't think the stations are on opposite sides of Antarctica.
No.
Yeah.
But are there.
But, yeah, I saw this YouTube video of this comedian. He was a black comedian, and he was talking about white people. And he was talking about how, like, white people are the only people who will go to a beach and get in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's sharks in there.
And there's jellyfish, depending on where you're going.
Yeah, and it's like, why do white people want to get in the ocean when there's sharks?
I still don't get it.
I will say I'm not in that group of white people. I think it's partially because I'm not the strongest swimmer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really been good at swimming.
Like, are you a thrill seeker? Like,
to a degree, I would say. Because, like, I really enjoy roller coasters. Like,
yeah.
This last summer, me and my brothers went to Cedar Point, and we went on the tallest roller coaster we could. Mm-hmm. Not the one that is there, because it was closed for maintenance.
Yeah.
But I think that's partially due to how tall it is, because that one's 420 feet in the air.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's...
nothing like a roller coaster that has to be closed for maintenance.
Yeah, I don't...
It goes 420 feet in the air.
And it's 420... Well, the way that roller coaster works is you go up initially, you rock... You kind of do a rock back, then you go up again, and then you do it again, and then you shoot up. Because it's... Like I said, it's 420 feet straight up. It's not like you're going...
That's awful.
So that's...
and then you drop 420 feet.
A little bit of suspense there.
That makes my stomach turn already. I do not like it.
But they also had one there where it was a roller coaster where you were kind of sitting just like you would in a chair. And you're just holding on to they've got the grips here so you can have something to grip onto. Mm-hmm. But once you get to the top, there is nothing below you when you look down. Mm-hmm. Because it drops straight down and it curves in just a little bit.
And you feel that feeling, your stomach drops, right? Like you're falling. Do you feel that?
I haven't really felt that in a while. No.
That's not normal. You should feel that.
Well, it's like I've wrote enough of them that it's like at this point that it's
desensitized yourself.
Yeah, it's like because me and my brothers the last 2 years have gone to a bunch of amusement parks and baseball games over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And in roller coasters.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was on a roller coaster, me and Pauline were sitting next to each other and we were at Six Flags. Why? Like, I don't like that kind of thing. but we're on a roller coaster, and I think it was called like Superman something fast.
Super death will kill you.
Yeah, you'll die.
There is a ride called Superman, but it's in Georgia.
And there was something, or was it Flash? Something. It was like a superhero. And Polly and I were sitting there, we're getting ready to go. Like, I don't like to commit to things, but then it starts to go and you can't be like, I'm all done. Like, please stop. I like to say I'm all done. Please stop. Okay? So we're already on there, it's going, and I'm scared. Like, I feel like I'm gonna die. And I like listen to Pauline, like I'm saying silent prayers in my heart, like, Lord, save my life. Please, I'm not ready to go. Pauline is praying, and then she grabs my arm, and I push her. Because I'm like, say your own prayer. Like, I need to save my life. You're gonna drag me down. And she starts praying for her mom. This is how you can see her heart. She's such a nice person. I'm like, Lord, save my life. And she's like, Lord, please help my mom. Please keep her alive. I can't die right now. I need to be with my mom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot die with this girl. Like, we never did it again.
Yeah, to whatever ride you were on, I don't think it was Superman, because I remember how Superman was. You were looking straight down at the ground.
Well, so maybe it was Flash, because what it did, it was going up, and then it would go really fast, and it would back up, and there was just a bunch of this, and it was just too much for me.
That would probably be Flash, then, yeah.
So maybe it was
Superman,
Flash.
because the Superman ride, at least I remember, there's probably more than one, but you were literally in the, like, flying like Superman.
Yeah.
On the ride.
Those are the most awesome roller coasters, though. There was one in SeaWorld that was like a manta ray themed one where it did that thing where like you were sitting and then it like flipped you.
Yeah,
So
you were basically laying
like
on your
horizontal.
stomach.
And it's just like adds an entire another level to the roller coaster experience, I feel like. You just feel so much more involved.
I don't. I hate it.
So you're not an adrenaline junkie.
No, I am not. I am not.
Yes. Well, yeah. White people are kind of crazy.
Well, because think about it. If God wanted you in the ocean, he would have given you way more webbed fingers and webbed feet and like able to breathe in the water. If he wanted you in space, you would have been able to like survive there and not just explode when you get up there. You know, like if he wanted you going super fast, he would have made it so that you could do that safely.
Yeah. Well,
he didn't want us to.
White people invented flight too. I think those guys were really crazy.
They are crazy.
They're just like, hey, why don't we just figure out this?
Do like the birds. See, that's the Tower of Babel kind of thing, okay? People need to stop trying to discover things. Stop trying to do amazing, cool things.
Well, I'm trying to think of a good topic to wrap this up with. You can do that, Jen. I got something better to ask.
Well, you ask both, not me. I feel like I'm always the one.
Brian, you said that in the past year that you felt like you've been growing a lot more in your relationship with God. What do you feel like that has looked like?
I feel like it's just been, I've been connecting with more people here. Like, I want to say before this year, I had like maybe 2 or 3 guys that I talked to consistently that I looked up as like peers. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I would say I've got another 4 or 5 that I've been able to add to that list.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the good thing about New Life is you can find home and community so easily, and with like everyone can fit in here somewhere.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too was just doing the renewed training this summer with Matt.
Yeah,
being our or being the coach for the group that I was in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like you got out of that?
I feel like I'm probably gonna be able to start doing that with other people probably after tomorrow when I go to the men's time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Probably try to do that again on another person, and then I think I'll, based off of what Ben and Matt have told me, though, they think I'm already ready. I think for me it's just a self-confidence thing as far as like I haven't done this type of thing before, so I want to make sure I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you get there and you're PC, you're renewing someone, and you like forget the whole thing.
Yeah.
Be kind of awkward.
Do you feel like that has been a growing experience for you because it's focused on helping other people? Do you feel like that's an aspect of it, or?
Yeah, I think that could be. I think that would probably be a good aspect that I haven't really thought about, but yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, Jerra.
Why? I'm not gonna ask. It's not gonna be me.
You said you were gonna
Yeah,
ask.
Well,
you
yeah, but
said
now
you were
I
going to
feel
ask
like-
even before we
I
started.
know, but I feel like now there's a trend of me being that kind of person. Like, I'm not gonna do it.
There is a trend.
What makes you a great person? That's my question.
That's your question?
Yeah.
What makes you a great person?
Yeah, like what about you do you feel you exude into the world that like you feel like, yeah, this makes me special, you know?
I would say it's more. I feel like I kind of got like a unique view. I would say of like Christianity and like just how I approach it. Because like I said, I typically don't get as much out of like a sermon as much as I get out of like the music.
Yeah. And would you want to one day share that view in a family of your own?
I don't know if I would want to share all of it, but
Well,
yes.
just, yeah, have it be there for
Yes.
your family to experience.
Yeah.
That'll be good. I hope that for you. Very artful way to ask an intrusive question.
Right. All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to ask Brian?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Well, Brian, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you wanted us to ask you?
You didn't ask me about my radio experience that I talked to you guys about.
Oh yeah.
So Brian told us that this is not his first time doing this kind of thing. He is experienced, and he was on radio. So what brought you to being on radio?
So the reason I got on the radio at that time was the college group leader at the church before I moved back.
So in Alabama?
Yes.
Okay.
He actually was had his own radio show on one of the local stations, and I guess he had invited anyone to kind of do like you guys did, and just if you wanted to, just talk to him. And I told him, hey, this is my last day, and for my last day in Alabama, I went at least last full day. I went and picked the top 5 songs for that hour that I was there.
Do you remember what the 5 songs were?
So one is by an artist called Sean Locke, and it's You Know I Don't Play.
Okay. I
It's
don't think I've heard it, but
it was actually I went back and listened to it recently as far as like the radio broadcast itself. That was actually the first song that I could say I listened to with Demon Hunter that I can actually remember.
Okay.
Because the lead singer of Demon Hunter is actually on that song.
Oh, okay.
Then I had a band called Pillar, and the song was Nails. And the songs talk about putting in nails in your coffin, and like how you're doing. Most people are doing that every single day. And then I had Red and the Darkest Part, which is talking about how most people never want you to see their darkest part of their personality or whatever. It's like everyone's trying to hide the darkest part of themselves. So whatever that may be. But I had one that was fitting for it being my last day, and it was Disciple, and the song was called Sayonara.
Okay. Yeah. So, for your last day at school before you moved to Alabama, you got to watch Revenge of the Sith and not do tests.
Yeah,
then
and
your
play
last-
basketball.
Yeah, and play basketball. And then your last day in Alabama, you went on radio. So what are we going to do for your last day in the United States of America before you move to Costa Rica?
When you move to Costa Rica to follow up.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
I can help.
Well, it was great talking to you, Brian. And thank you for jumping in and
Yeah.
being interviewed. I hope you had a lot of fun.
I did.
Yeah, I think it was
Well, it was good talking to
a
you.
fun time. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.